Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday now. By the time I get this video up, it will be at least Thursday, probably Friday. You've probably seen this sitting on the shelf there in my last video. I have two trays. It's actually trays that I sove one time before. I had gone to the gardening center and I bought a bunch of plants in these containers, and I took the tray and all. I bought enough plants to fill out a full tray. That is actually how I've got all of my trays except for these three, tray A, B and C. Canadian Tire is just starting to put out their gardening supplies. They didn't have any soil out, but there was seeds, and these trays were out when I went to get the stuff for the lighting. This is the Jiffy Professional Greenhouse. One of the things that bugs me is how companies go about ensuring their, what I call, make work projects. They design products so that they can't be reused. Now, because of the way I'm using these, and I use the little cups afterwards, I can reuse this tray. But as a normal 1 foot by 2 foot flat, then it's no good. What they've done, this is the only way I could get this design. The cup, the little clear shot glasses fit in here, the same size as these peat pellets. But they changed the design. Last year and previous years, it was just the regular flat, and then they had an insert they put in it where these peat pellets would go. So when you're done with that, you can actually take out that insert and use it as a regular flat. This year they have molded a flat size container with this design in it. Now, I didn't notice that when I bought them, but when I went to take them out, I turned it over, I realized it's just all one molded piece. So I could potentially use this as a flat, but for the most part it makes it kind of uncomfortable to use it as a flat. It's more just for this type of thing. And another thing, something that actually got me into using the cups to start with, you can go and get, these are Jiffy pellets, and I was looking for a refill for these. So you go and buy 72 pellets in a bag and refill your flat like this. I searched both on Jiffy's website and in the stores around. They're not the same. Well, I don't know, you guys might know somewhere to get them, but I know of nowhere to actually buy these size of peat pellets without buying the old kit. So I bought two of those because I wasn't happy with the way the inserts that I was thinking about doing, that I tried doing, and so I went and I got those. I said, well, some things you want professionals to make for you. And this one here, this is the tray C that I had put up there. I took everything out of the regular flat that I had, and I put in one of these, and then the other one that's not in use yet, that'll be tray B. The plants here now, they're getting up taller, starting to put on a few true leaves, and I want to transplant them now into the bigger pots. The basil will probably stay in this pot. Some of the other ones, they may be potted up into bigger pots later. But the plants that are getting larger, I want to put all in bigger pots. And that's my task for today. The other thing I did when I was at Canadian Tire, they had their seeds out. So I went and looked at them. I bought some more chamomile because, like I said, I don't have very many chamomile seeds. And I knew I didn't have lavender or summer savory. I wasn't sure whether I had this squash or no. The zucchini dark green, I know this one grows well here, and I don't know why I didn't have zucchini last year when I did have the seed. So I bought a pack of seed. This is prized lettuce. It's a lettuce that I know grows well in this climate, and I struggle with getting lettuce to grow, so I bought that one. Kohlrabi. I think about this one often. My mother had grown these for 2 or 3 years. They're kind of a cross between turnip and chestnuts. They grow right on top of the ground, and it's just the little skinny taproot that goes down in the soil. But they are delicious. And I've seen those there. It's an heirloom, so I'm buying it. So I end up with another 7 seeds to plant and 144 peat pellets to use. But before we start that, just have a look at this. 3 mornings I came out here, and this thermometer was registering below 0. The sea buckthorn, they're coming around. It got cold enough for them to lose their leaves, but they're coming back. This thing, that's the better bush tomato plant. It's still showing hardly any signs of being bothered by the cold. Got a little bit down there on that leaf, and a little bit right there. Got a new tomato growing on it. And then we come over here. This is a thinner tomato plant. It requires some better staking than the better bush does. But as you can see, it's quite alive. It's starting to flower. This is the Starfire Improved. So that's 2 tomato plants that survived freezing temperatures quite well. This one, it is weakened, but it was weak all along. And as you know, bugs attack the weakest plants first. So along with the cold, I've been fighting aphids off of this thing. Here's one right there. So it is a weak plant, but the cold didn't kill it. This is Rugder's tomato. Now they're in by the window, so it might have been a little warmer. This one is out closer to the window. It is flowering. And since there's aphids here, I'll show you something. But first, as you can see, it is still quite alive. Now this one is Scotia tomato. So that was developed in Nova Scotia, Canada. So you'd expect it to be a little bit hardy on the cold anyway. It's putting a lot of flower buds on this one now. Some there are almost ready to open. But let's see. Can you see the aphids on there? Now, I have this. What this one was made for, but All the sprayers are the same. There's a spray applicator for waterproofing and stains and that kind of stuff. But okay, so it's a lot of pressure in there. I take my wand and I'll get it on my hand, right? And I spray the aphids right off. It's a lot easier than hand picking them. You go over, you look down over your plant with the wand in your hand and just spray at every aphid you see. That's what survived. The yellow pear, that didn't survive, and several of the others. But after getting freezing temperatures here, I still have 4 tomato plants growing. Now, these guys are loving it. The temperature regime here now, they are just tickled pink. And I had labeled this one as a cauliflower, so I definitely got the label wrong. This is a broccoli. Now, as far as this one labeled cabbage goes, it's been sitting there over winter, so I don't know what would happen. Is this a cabbage that thought it went through winter and now it's in its second year because cabbage is a biennial? Or is it a mislabeled plant again? We'll find out. The kale, that's starting to take off. And this one really took off. And I had that one labeled, the first one I showed you labeled broccoli, and this one labeled cauliflower. But this one looks like a broccoli to me. The head is not started yet, so I don't know for sure, but it definitely looks like a broccoli and not a cauliflower. So I had the label switched around for those two. My mulberry trees, they started to all lose their leaves. I don't know the reason behind it. Are they dying, or was it just because of the continual cold? That something I find out. I will, when the weather warms up, I'm going to bring them out and plant them and see if they come back. But now, back to the basement and planting up herbs. 4, 5, so I got 15 3-inch. I'm going to put basil in these. I have to label every one. Where I got them I don't know, but I do have a bunch of these plastic labels. Now, I know I have 6 of each: lime, sweet, and mammoth. Labels ready. I am going to start with sweet basil in roll number 6. There's a couple plants in each cup. little bush of basil in each planter anyway. The basils will probably just stay in these little 3-inch pots. Better for me to bring a bit of soil over close by. Cups are getting fairly full of roots and are starting to come out the bottom. It smells so nice when you're handling basil. See, when they're just a little bit dry, they come out nice. You can't have them completely dry, it'll fall apart. If they're really wet, it'll fall apart. But if they're just a little dry, similar to what the soil would be when you initially do this pot up, then they come out in a nice little block like that. And if they haven't gotten root bound, you don't have to worry about the roots being stuck together. And in that way, one, you're not disturbing the roots, and two, because you've let it dry a little bit, the conditions as you're potting it up has actually improved, and so you reduce the transplant shock in that way by improving the conditions of the roots rather than giving them the initial drying out portion. I tried that several times by planting them out as well. If I can get the soil out of the pot in the one cohesive block and just plant it down in the soil, then the plant seems to grow fairly well as if it wasn't disturbed. Disturbed the roots of another one that seemed to be just as good and it just died. So my recommendation is, like I say, to let the soil dry a little bit and try and get it out in one cohesive block when you're doing your transplants. Now this one is row number 5, that's lime basil. And now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did it backwards. The first one was mammoth basil. And that's sweet basil. And this is lime basil. Now I'm out of pre-moistened potting mix, so I have to prepare some more, so we're going to take a few minutes break right now. Well, we're back again. This is the other tray. If I had paid attention, this tray has 18 planters in it. I could have had all of my basil in the one flat. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's start to finish it. I have the other things that I wanted to put up into larger pots already transplanted. These are tomato seedlings and they've gone quite leggy, so I want to put them in bigger cups. I'm going to put them in these solo cups for now. All planted out. separated these little tomato starts because they were growing tall and leggy and I wanted to bury them nice and deep. Now I won't be keeping that many tomato plants, I'll just keep 2 of each variety. The pepper pat and sassies are back there. Brown's fennel. And tray C is almost empty. These are the winter savory oregano and Greek oregano that I said would be growing slowly, so they're not big enough to transplant yet. This tiny Tim here, I've got a video upcoming on repurposing some trash into a planter, and I'll be planting this tiny Tim in it.